Chorleywood is a village near London whose population has increased steadily since the middle of the 19th century. The map below shows the development of the village. Write a report for a university lecturer describing the development of the village. You should write at least 150 words. Note: main features 1868-1883 small village, east of Main Road, 1883, 1922 expands south, 1909 railway is built, station 2, 1922, 1970 expands east and west, motorway is built, 1970-1994 scattered settlements. Describing map sample answer 1. The map shows a town called Chorleywood and its growth between 1968 and 1994. The town grew significantly and several transport links were built over the period. From 1868 to 1883 Chorleywood was a small town by the side of a main road leading from north to south, and which had a single east-west intersection located to the north of the village. Over the next 4 decades/40 years, Chorleywood was expanded greatly to the south along the eastern side of the main road, and in 1989 a railway line was built through the middle of the new section of town, giving Chorleywood its own railway stations. From 1922 onward, the town expanded outward, to the east and west, but only along the south side of the railway line. By this point, the town was many times its original size. A half-century later, a motorway was built to the east of Chorleywood, running perpendicular to the main road that passes through town and intersecting the east-west road to the north. At the two motorway intersections, new settlements sprang up, expanding the borders of Chorleywood even further, so that, by 1994 the town was now vastly expanded in most directions. The areas not yet claimed by the town were the site of a park and golf course. Sample answer 2. The map shows the growth of a village called Chorleywood between 1868 and 1994. It is clear that the village grew as the transport infrastructure was improved. 4 periods of development are shown on the map, and each of the populated areas is near to the main roads, the railway, or the motorway. From 1868 to 1883, Chorleywood covered a small area next to one of the main roads. Chorleywood Park and Golf Course is now located next to this original village area. The village grew along the main road to the south between 1883 and 1992, and in 1909 a railway line was built crossing this area from west to east. Chorleywood Station is in this part of the village. The expansion of Chorleywood continued to the east and west alongside the railway line until 1970. At that time, a motorway was built to the east of the village, and from 1970 to 1994, further development of the village took place around motorway intersection with the railway and one of the main roads. 174 words. Sample answer 3. The given map represents the development of Chorleywood village for 4 different time spans starting from 1868 to the year 1994. It is clearly observed that the earliest signs of development were evident towards the western end of Chorleywood Park and Golf Course. This development took place between the years 1868 to 1883 and was near to the main roads. The second phase of development was initiated between 1883 to 1992. One of the key highlights of this period was the construction of Chorleywood Railways and Station built in the year 1909. With the establishment of railways in the village, a considerable increase in the developmental activities was observed. From the year 1922 until the year 1970, a drastic growth was seen towards the southern and southwestern end of the village near the newly built Chorleywood Railways. The building of motorways on the western side of Chorleywood marked the start of the final expansion phase for the village. A major expanse of outbuilt was successfully created at the cross-sections of motorways and railways as well as motorways and main roads both in the southeastern and northeastern regions of the village. Thus, to conclude, it can be said that over the given period the village of Chorleywood underwent major developmental operations. However, a large part of this development was confined around the Chorleywood Park and Golf Course. Also, wherein the first and the second time periods represented smaller growth, a majority of expansion activities took place in the third and the fourth phase from the year 1922 till the year 1994. Sample answer 4. The illustration delineates how the development of Chorleywood Village in London took place from 1868 to 1994, over a period of 125 years. Generally speaking, development works in this rural area proceeded much rapidly from 1970 to 1994 than that of previous decades. As the graph suggests, Improvement in Chorleywood village was limited during the 19th century when the area surrounding the Chorleywood station witnessed some development works. The railways were introduced in 1909 and it went across the station area and formed the ground for a wider development and constructions between 1922 and 1970, end of which the motorway was established in this village. The village went through rapid developments between 1970 and 1994 and had a wider roadway at this time. It is worth noticing that development and constructions in Chorleywood were guided by the transportation facilities as the junction areas witnessed faster and large-scale progress than other areas. The park and the golf course are in the middle of the village and train, road, and motorways formed a hashtag-like road system in Chorleywood. Sample answer 5. The diagram outlines the development that the Chorleywood village of London witnessed between 1868 and 1994. Overall, development works in this village were done in different periods and much of these constructions were done between 1970 and 1994. Interestingly, transportation facility defined the era of development in this village. According to the diagram, the motor road was established in 1970 while the railway was built in 1909 in Chorleywood. Before 1900, only a portion of the village was developed and later, between 1883 and 1922, the station was built and some development works were finished. The area near the station was then improved and during the end of this construction, in 1970 to be precise, the motorway was completed. After 1970, the expansion process seemed accelerated and many areas of the village came under the renovation process. At the beginning of the 20th century, the railway was built. The land roads including the motorway, roads, and railroads of this village connect almost all of the parts of the city and forms an hash-like shape. The progress in this area had been done mostly based on the establishment of the transportation systems but the park and the golf course